I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we're so grateful that we could be here this evening. We're thankful for all the many blessings that it gives us. We're thankful that we could live here in Tokerville and be residents of this great city. And we thank all the city staff that puts time and energy into making our city run. Please bless us this evening that we will understand the items before us and we'll make decisions that are best for the city. Please bless us that we will have thy guidance through all the things that we do. We say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Okay, we're going to move on to approval of the agenda. Let's, at this time, if there's any statement of belief or opposite, or a different kind of prayer, not opposite, but a different kind of prayer would like to be stated, go for it. Now is the time. All right, we're going to move on to the approval of the agenda. Everybody had time to look at the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as is.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, any disclosures of declaration of conflicts?
I have none.
Okay, we're going to move on to the consent agenda. Review and possible approval of the meeting minutes, May 1st, 2024, City Council meeting, May 15th, 2024, Special City Council meeting, May 15th, City Council meeting, May 29th, 2024, specials. That was the special City Council meeting. Yes. Everybody had time to look at the minutes and review them.
One correction, Daisy, on May 15th special council meeting, you got me absent, but in the closed session, you have me voting to go into a closed session.
Make up your mind.
I know, sorry.
That's a good catch. The details matter. Other than that, are we good, Todd?
Yes, sir. I make a motion that we approve the
Minutes.
minutes from all those dates.
Perfect.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. I can move on to review and possible approval of city expenditures from February 2024, March 2024, and April 2024. We had time to look at those expenditures. Any questions?
I didn't have time. I got through some of them, but
Okay.
You good with them? You good? We can do, if you didn't get to the end ones, we could,
they're all the same.
yeah, you're good then.
Table.
I finally got to April. You want
What
to
I
just
do-
table April?
Do you want to do February and April, or February and March and table April?
Yeah, I only had one question and that was it. And it was on some money paid to Ray Charles recently.
William Charles?
William Charles.
William Charles. Ray Charles is a blind piano player. William Charles.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the only thing that,
William Charles,
Yeah.
that's a closeout, that's the closeout
yeah,
document.
that's what I thought it was. That's the only, I think that's the only thing I had. So
Okay, perfect.
I'm good with it.
Motion to approve the expenditures for April, February, and March of 2024.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're going to move on to our city department reports. Matt texted me and Mike is out, so Matt's running double duty. I just want to read his text that he sent me. He just wanted to know that they've been doing the SL rat inspection. So I don't know if you guys know, it's a little machine they run through the pipes and run some kind of a radio wave system and inspects the pipes. They can tell if they're round, if they're squashed, if they're leaking, if they've got holes in them, if they've got roots in them. It's just a super easy way. And he said they've inspected all the lines in Tokerville. I did ask him how they looked. I haven't heard back from him. So I'm sure if they were really bad, we'd have heard it by now. But I will get a better report from him. The sewer plant, there's 5 in Confluence Park is moving along good now. They've got Whitaker. brain dead. Anyways, the contractor is moving along and they're working really well. We're hoping to have that open first of 2025 is kind of what they're thinking. So it's a big plant, 1.5 million gallons a day. So it's going to be nice. And then the nice thing is the reuse water we get from that. So, all right, that's it enough for Ash Creek. Let's go on to Hurricane Valley Fire. Merlin?
We've had, last month, we had 11 calls over here, 6 medicals, 5 other calls, which would include fires, lift assist, different like that. For the month, or as of today, we're just shy of 3,000 calls. I would bet by morning, we'll have 3,000 calls by noon tomorrow. Last Saturday, my crew was on Friday, Saturday, let's see. Saturday, Sunday, we did our 48, was our last shift. 31 calls on Saturday, and we ended up the 48-hour tour with 54 calls. So slowed down since we got off. So it's continuing. We're continuing to be very busy. We would like to know if the Tokerville City would put a sign at the end of Springs Drive that says, "Please no jumping off the falls."
Oh.
Yeah. A couple broken ankles.
We had 2 gentlemen that are old enough to know better jumped, 2 broken ankles on one guy and one on the other. So please don't jump off the falls. I don't know how they're getting up to the falls with that road, but
That's a rough bugger.
yeah, we flew one out, brought one down in a side-by-side. Broken bone day on last Saturday, so hopefully this Saturday don't repeat. So a lot of calls and stuff like that. So burn season is now over, so we don't want anybody to try to be burning right now anyway. And we're starting to get a few calls. We haven't had anything major yet, but we've had, some that have started, and we've been able to get them out pretty quick. And our guys are deployed. Some of our guys are deployed, and we got another crew that's ready. I'm sure they'll be deployed soon.
They're down in Tucson, right?
It's cutting out on me. We got one crew down there now, but the way California's going now, probably we'll be down there. So, and I did see a big box for the 4th of July for Tokerville. So they're planning on getting the guys over here that morning, hopefully, for the activities. So
Thank you.
a couple of trucks down there.
All right.
I got one question.
Yeah,
I got one quick question, Merlin. This came out of our, out of the emergency readiness meetings. With the burn barrels, do you have to have a burn permit for that?
Yes and no.
Depends on-
I would prefer to see people clean up. It's just the problem if they're not going to attend them and be right there, keep them small, and then nobody knows and doesn't see them. But it's really no open flame. I mean, we're not going to come if you're cooking out in the back with your, pit, as long as you got it cleared around it. But problem is people will throw everything they want to burn on there. And then the neighbors call because they see the flames coming across the fence. So you can have your little pit fires and stuff like that, but it's for pit fires for wood, not to burn household trash and stuff like that.
Okay, so theoretically, a burn barrel requires a pit then? Okay.
So anything, thing out in the landfill, I go out there a lot, helping my son with his job and stuff like that. You can have up to like 2,000 pounds or something a month out there.
Yeah, 1 ton a month, free.
So I've been out there a couple of times. They go off your license plate, so just take a different vehicle the next time, right? But I mean, you can get a lot of stuff because I thought last time I was going to have to pay, but when my son paid once, it was $2.30. So we encourage you to clean up, but sometimes it's just easier to take it out there. They have places for, if you do have all green stuff, it goes to one spot. If it's garbage, it's going to go to a different, but take advantage of that. But clean up, get your weed eater out, get everything down low and stubble at the ground, then you have a lot less chance of burning your house down.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to City Manager Afton. You got a few things for us this evening?
Do. And just starting at the beginning, our financial report, we are going to have a budget discussion tonight on the proposed budget for next year. It's not noticed as a public hearing. We've completed those requirements, but when we're doing that, we ask that Mayor, if there are people who do have something to say, we would like to hear if that's okay with you. It's not noticed as one, it's not a requirement, but Hinton Burdick has completed the reconciliation of our financials today. So those should be coming up on the next agenda. We are going to go through this budget discussion tonight, still with no property tax increase or water rate increase proposed. At this time, the financial will show that 100% of the year, because we're within 2 weeks of it, so the way it rounds, it will show that 100% of the budget has been, 100% of the budget year has elapsed. We have received 99.23% of our revenue, and 97.12% of the budget has been expended. So we're coming in under budget, so we're glad about that. On our next major expenditure, the generator for Town Hall that we've reported on that was tabled, we had a meeting that included Councilman Sands, Mayor Sip, me as the city manager, and Public Works, where we discussed that expenditure. We are looking at taking, where the ask is that we're going to be taking that out of the water fund. They're looking at getting that generator that could serve as a backup generator for Town Hall, but it will also have the lights on it so that they could use that for water leaks. That's one thing, a need that they've had. So that's about a $15,000 expenditure that will be coming up in future meetings. Jason Levitt could not be here today. He's our public safety director. So he's continuing with code enforcement. The top 5 ordinances that he's working on are lighting, vicious dogs, and the complaints, not just the ordinances, but the complaints. The top 5 are lighting, vicious dogs, nuisance, including drugs, unlicensed nightly rentals, land use violations, including grading without a permit. We circulated an RFP for a prosecutor that was on a city prosecutor that was on our agenda several weeks ago. That was circulated. We received applications. We interviewed them. We rated and ranked them. They were interviewed by a 6-person panel that included a member from the Washington County Sheriff's Office, the city attorney, the public safety director, the mayor, the assistant city manager, and myself as the city manager. After we rated and ranked those, we made contact with the top ranked individual. They are here tonight. That's going to be an agenda item later. They'll talk about a little bit more about themselves. And then we are still moving forward with our annexation policy plan, our water conservation plan. One interesting thing to note is that we submitted our water conservation plan. That's a requirement by the state. And now, after the last AAC meeting at the Water District, they have proposed to do one that is standardized for the entire regional water supply agreement that would relieve each individual city from having to come up with their water conservation plan. So we'll see what that looks like. It hasn't been circulated yet, but that is in the works, that they are working on a draft that they are going to give to cities to see if we're interested in adopting that. And then we have had the kickoff meeting for our master transportation plan. And that went well. It's with Sunrise Engineering. You're going to see that later on the agenda as an item. We were able to receive for the second time a UDOT TPA, which is a technical planning assistance grant. And so that's about $87,000 right in there. We'll talk about that a little later, but that project is moving forward. The Westfield Parks, those restrooms are under construction. They're about to wrap those up. I went up there and toured them. They look so good. They look amazing.
Yeah, I was up there yesterday morning.
The only thing that's lacking on those is they're waiting for a part for the heaters.
Okay.
Because
The toilet tops weren't on and their handrails weren't
Right.
up, but just a couple small, I think a couple lights, and they're really close.
Yeah, they're
Really
getting
close.
they're getting.
Looks nice.
It looks so good. We're excited because when that's completed, then we can start moving into the next phase, which is the landscape irrigation, the design of that. So, and then moving forward, the plan with that still is to construct pickleball courts. They're using wrap taps is what we're looking at doing for that, saving that for a couple of years. And then Hannah's been researching the pavers for that to get those going from that fundraiser that we did. So the 2 million gallon water tank, that scheduled completion is June 30th, depending on power. And then I spoke with Sunrise Engineering today, and Darren spoke with them as well. They're working on, they're wanting to fill that tank. They're getting ready to do that, but they're going to be testing for leaks before doing that. So that was a great recommendation by Sunrise. Holbrook Asphalt has started their pavement preservation projects. We announced that on social media. We are also going to announce the next phase when they come back. We're going to announce the next phase on our website and through social media, but also on Yopify. So if residents have not signed up for that, it gives real-time text messages. Very similar to like how it says, hey, you have a doctor's appointment scheduled on Tuesday. It's the same type of a thing. It's just an automatic text that says, you live in an area where they are going to be doing pavement preservation. Please move your car or it will be towed, or things of that nature. So we're excited about that.
So real quick on that, they can just go to the website, our
Yep,
Togo
just
City
sign up for
website
Yopify.
and just sign up. Okay.
If they sign up for Yopify, they'll get those messages. So that's great. One thing that JD asked me to just update on, and it was actually to update you, Todd, but I think it could be helpful for the whole city. He had mentioned, I'll just tell you what he had said here. It's about, there's, I guess, a hole in TRE. I was not aware of that, but he said, he just said, if people are asking why we haven't filled in the hole at TRE yet, we are waiting for Blue Stakes to clear that. We will be digging a new water service at that address. This is the second break it's had in 6 months, and it's embedded in boulders.
So on that, I just wanted to commend the Public Works, because when
Yeah.
we came out of our special meeting last night, I walked out and I'm like, why is the gate open to the yard? And then as I'm driving over there, I see one of the trucks coming back, and I get over there, they had already
Yeah.
put the cones or whatever,
Cones.
out to secure it. And then I was on my way out early this morning and they were already out working. So, and they were very professional. And so I just wanted to pass that along
Yeah.
to them.
That's awesome.
Doing a great job.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's the update that they just wanted to give. So if people are wondering, on the Parkway, Phase B is still under construction, and we're still addressing the concerns on the north and south side. We think we've got some recommendations from AGC. There were 4 options that were considered. Some of them involved stacking those concrete blocks. And UDOT didn't really care for that option. The main reason was just it's higher than what UDOT standards are by about 20 feet. So what they're looking at on the north side, it's not been finalized, but what they're looking at right now with the UDOT geotechs, those geotechs there, and AGC and the contractor, they're looking at doing shotcrete on the north side and then continuing on the south side at laying that slope back. So that's where we are. So we should have.
Any time frame on when they're going to start up again?
UDOT's reviewing AGC's recommendations right now. I met with Bob earlier.
Okay.
So earlier today. So then the Choya Creek turn lanes, people have been kind of asking what's going on with those. We're waiting to stripe those until we stripe the entire parkway so that we don't have overlaps and confusion on that. Sapp Brothers, they've pulled their building permit. They're moving forward out there. And then, and then just economic growth. We're obviously going to go through some of that in the budget. We're anticipating that Tokerville is going to grow next year, that Firelight's going to be constructing some homes and their community center, that Sapp Brothers will start wrapping theirs up. The reservoir, that is kind of an ongoing project that we're working through with the district at FEMA. And that's where we are. So that's the update.
That's a lot of stuff.
Is the bypass update meeting we have every Thursday at 9:00? Is that still on for tomorrow, or is that?
It is. Bob was gone last week. He had a family event. So yeah, but yep.
Yeah.
I got 2, Afton. One was, you mentioned the tiles for the park, the pavers is, is it possible to open that back
Oh,
up
you
to the
could also-
residents to give
Sure.
them another
Yeah,
chance? Or can we
there's-
do
We
some
did
sort of
that.
advertising or something?
Yeah, and what we want to do is when we did that fundraiser, the sizes that were advertised are no longer available. So we went out there, we had a meeting, there was Darren, me, Hannah from the city was there because she's kind of taken that over. And then JD was out there, they did the measuring, they're putting it into the model to see what size of pavers will fit there. So we have a vendor that will make those pavers, we just have to tell them the amount that we want. And the way that it works is when you come from the sidewalk, there's going to be that going all the way to the pavilion. And then if we need to, we'll put them off to the side, but there will be empty spaces for pavers that people will be able to to contact the
Okay.
city and purchase.
So maybe we can put that on the website or something.
It's, well,
Or,
Bailey and I shot a little video
Yeah.
to put on the website,
okay.
but the sound was terrible, so she wants me to do it again.
She got that new microphone.
I think I did a terrible job and she wants me to practice. So I think that's what's gonna really, but we'll do it again, so.
That wasn't a Bailey
What's that?
issue or a
I-
mayor, no. That was a
So-
wind issue.
That was a win.
That was Tokerville. It's windy in
It
Tokerville.
was windy, that's the
And then-
problem.
And I got-
That's what happened.
And then one more for you, Afton. With the 4th of July, I saw that we got the cruise and crawl
Mhm.
going up. I remember from the Tokerville mayor, your
City?
State of the
Oh,
City.
yeah.
And there was a quilt there that was for Shop with a Cop.
Yep.
And that was supposed to be, what's the right word? Opportunity off at the July 4th?
Yeah. And so with that, we were hoping that we could display that in town hall and that people could do it. And it turned out that taking tickets is actually very complicated for a city of how do we account for that with revenue? How do we do that? So we looked into that and we couldn't really find a way. We checked with the state, we checked with the auditor about how we could collect money for that. They said, well, typically you would have them just Venmo the charity or Venmo the person who's doing that. So we had Bailey, she talked with Anita, she was the one who made the quilt. It's absolutely beautiful. What we said that what it came down to was that what we would rather do is do just a one-time donation to Shop
To
with
the
the
Shop
Cop,
with the Cop
rather than
from
try
the
to
city?
take tickets and try to guarantee this and that. So that's what we're working through
Okay.
right now.
Because like Hurricane does Venmo for some of their
Right.
charities, I guess would be the right
Right.
word.
And so that's what we're looking into
Okay.
is how to do it, the logistics of it financially.
All right, just
So,
curious.
but if she has it there and people can do that, it is absolutely beautiful. You saw it. It was absolutely beautiful. So super great cause.
Thank you.
Anybody? I just have one simple.
Yeah, Joey?
I thought the generator was going to be permanent. Did we switch to?
Well, the price they were looking at, they figured if they could have a generator here that would take care of the city, or they could have one that's portable, they could, if they're using it somewhere at night and they need lights to fix the water, it's a kind of a dual use. Instead of spending,
Was the point to make sure that the servers and all that kind of stuff stayed active? Is it like if we didn't have it hooked up at night?
I think there's enough batteries to keep it running for enough time to get a generator turned on. So I think it comes down to cost and getting a master switch and the trench dug and all that other stuff. The cost just went from 15 to 25 to 40 to 50 real fast. So I think that's what we're trying to get, something that we can, and then when we get some more money, we can do it another way. So, yeah, it's all about money, right?
Yeah.
Always is. Okay, any other questions for Afton? All right, we are gonna move on. I think Darren is up next. Planning and zoning.
So Riker was unable to be here. Essentially, for the last couple of months, or the last couple of planning commission meetings, we've had to cancel basically just different opportunity or different things that rose up. So we don't have any much more than what we've just been talking about. Riker, where he left today, he had to go to some different things, but he was just wanting to let you know that we're continuing to work on those same ordinances. And we should have those back from the attorney pretty quickly. There's also a couple resolutions I talked with Daisy as well that we were working on. So those should get back to you. So
Okay.
mine's pretty short. Sweet. Afton covered a lot of the stuff.
Perfect.
And some of the things that
All right, we're gonna move on to our attorney. Matt, you got anything for us this evening?
I had an opportunity to participate in the interview with the soon-to-be prosecutor. Appreciate the opportunity to meet those candidates and go through that evaluation process. So I'm looking forward to getting an action item to approve the new city prosecutor. Nothing other than that.
Okay. Perfect. We are gonna move into our public forum portion of the meeting. Please come to the podium, state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes to talk about anything you want.
Anita Eaton. I live in Tokerville. That's enough of my address, since I don't really want this broadcast over YouTube for someone to know my address and show up.
Okay.
So, a couple of items. One of the items that you have listed on the agenda tonight is the Firelight Development wanting to do vertical construction.
Yep, and we'll discuss that.
And you'll discuss that, but I wanted to bring up some items that that's kind of threw up a red flag, because there was a discussion early on saying that the traffic wasn't to go through the for construction traffic for that project. It was not to go through the center of town. Yet with the south end not being finished, the north end not being finished, and conditions within the development agreement with the property owners of the north end as part of that development agreement, it was that had to be substantially completed. And that meant 2 fully constructed lanes of travel commencing at the north interchange with SR 17, the current SR 17, as well as where it comes back in and connecting into the south end. And so I just wanted to remind the council of that while they're discussing that, because that was one of the conditions, that it not become a construction road or construction access to that. A couple of other items was, as I watched the planning commission meeting, where there's a report of the planning and zoning administrator. There's a lot of items that seem to be sitting on that desk or been passed on to the attorney's desk. Many times an attorney does not have a report to give at all. And then also it just seems that some things that just come to a complete stop. Back in December, the cost to do a conditional use permit for livestock, including chickens, was raised to $400. It was discussed in the December meeting, and there has not been any update to that at all. And so as a member of the community, I'm not seeing a lot of stuff happening that should be happening. I'm seeing a lot of stuff that is happening that shouldn't. And I think that is all that I had to say.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Ray, come on up.
I'm Ray Betts, 370 West Shangri-La here in Tokerville. I just have a couple of items. I've worked on, and I've talked to several people, Councilman Sands, the mayor, as well as Jason Levitt, about a need for a backup of a water system. I've been doing some research. A large number of people here in this community are elderly. If we have a water system that fails, CIA director 2 days ago stated they expect to see terrorism in the electrical grid and the water systems. And I know that we're looking at a system for City Hall to power it, but we have no other system than a 250-gallon propane tank, which I went ahead and did some research on that. That's probably good for a week and a half if we had to run our water system. We have a great water system. We have water. We just don't have a water distribution method. And we have no trailers or anything like that. And I worked to get a bid, an $80,000 bid, to put a solar backup in that would work for us. It's not fully as much as a regular generator. And I'm not married to any method, but at least we need to get some more propane tanks there, some larger propane tanks. And I'd be willing to go and do the research or whatever, but we need a way to pump water in this city. And if not, we're going to have a problem. Now, it's one thing to go down to the springs to get water if you have gasoline or a car to do it. But if you don't do that, people cannot sit there with buckets and walk down there and do that. So I'd encourage you to spend some time and talk about that if you would. It is of a concern. It's the one thing the city can do for its citizens, and it is an existential threat. I wanted to mention the FM radio station is still on a test loop. We're going to have to change some of the message on there, that music that's playing in the background is copyrighted. So we're going to put non-copyrighted information on it. And so we have that, but we have to take that music off. Let's see, the third thing is that we're continuing doing our preparedness meetings. We've got one next Thursday. We're getting a pretty good group that are coming out. We've spoken with all the bishops and all the wards. They've, with the exception of the first ward, the other 2 wards are on board, and we're starting a citywide radio net, and that will be within the next month. We bought a new repeater for it, and it will reach out to Browse, and we'll go past Hurricane if we need to. So we're putting things in place for that, and that's all I have to say.
Thanks, Ray.
You must have practiced that speech, Dan.
I know, it's right on 3 minutes on the money. All right, does anybody else have any comments for this evening? All right, we're going to close this public forum portion of the meeting and move into our business items. Item F1, discussion and possible action to approve an MOU with Washington County Water Conservancy District for upsizing infrastructure and pipeline replacement on the Tocqueville Parkway project.
So.
Darren, after you. Yeah.
Either way.
ahead.
So I met with Trinity about this. This has been in the works for a while. This has gone through Stanley Consulting as well, and the Water District. It's gone through their board. Now it's coming to us. It's pretty simple. It's the same thing they did up toward Davis Pond, where they did upsizing while we were there. So the sewer district has done it. They've done it. They're basically, while we're out there doing the construction, they're upsizing theirs. They're paying for it. They're just asking for the opportunity to do theirs at the same time as the Parkway. Very similar to what we did in Anderson Junction when the district had their trench open. We put our water line in there for cost savings.
So, is this already work had been completed, or is this something that's oncoming?
Some of it, yes.
Some of it,
Yeah, but yeah, they've got a little bit more
Okay.
to do.
Perfect.
They thought they had sent this to us earlier, but we hadn't, so we just worked through it with them to
Okay.
get it to you.
Any questions? This is pretty straightforward.
Yeah, we're just asking for the mayor to be able to sign the MOU that says the district can upsize their infrastructure and pay for it.
What's that? Yeah, they're reimbursing us, yeah. Yep.
Make a motion to approve business item F1.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this item? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, item business F2, discusses possible action on appointing a Tocqueville City prosecutor. So we happen to have the prosecutor that we have picked for you guys to meet. He is here today. If you'd come on up, introduce yourself, tell us all about yourself. We spent some time with him here in the office. It was a great interview. I think we picked the best person for the job. So go ahead.
Well, thank you. Well, first of all, I'll try to keep this to 3 minutes. I doubt I'll do as good as this gentleman did, but attorneys, that's not one of our strengths, is keeping anything short.
You do,
My name is
you
Jerry
do bill by
Taylor.
the hour, right?
Yeah, that's
So
part of the problem right there.
Sorry, Matt.
Is the clock running now?
Exactly. So my name is Jerry Jager. I've been working for the county attorney's office for over 20 years now. Currently, I'm working as one of their special victims prosecutors. That means I get assigned the toughest cases. I work with the murders, the child sex offense cases, and the rapes. I enjoy doing that in the sense that it's part of service. I enjoy the service aspect of it, of helping these victims out during the most difficult times in their life. But they are very difficult cases. When it comes to this, when it comes to working with Tocqueville City, what I've learned though as a special prosecutor is the importance of really working and understanding people and working with people and showing them compassion. And that's also what I learned as a city. I worked as the Washington city attorney too for 14 years. And one of the most important things you can actually do as a prosecutor is to show people respect. And that's especially with the good citizens of, that was Washington City, but for here it's Tocqueville. When you meet with people and they come in and talk to you, the most important thing is to show them that respect and show them that you're going to be fair, And of course, you have to follow the law. But my goal was to always meet with people and to hear them out. And often, didn't always happen, but often, after they met with me and we talked through things, they would plead guilty and pay their fine, and then they would shake my hand and they would leave with a smile. I know that doesn't always happen, but that is the goal, is to, and especially with Justice Court. With Justice Court, you recognize that these are good people that made a mistake, and the ultimate goal is education, is to help to change things, and so they learn from that mistake, and so it doesn't happen again in the future. I want to applaud each of you for the staff and also for your city council for being proactive. The best time to start is now with these, especially with getting the ordinances in place. When I started with Washington City 14 years ago, or actually been about 16 years ago, because I worked for them for 14 years. When I started with them, they were actually, their police department was in a small house. And in the meantime, they've built a big police department. They've their police department's more than tripled in size. And it actually got to the point where it was too large for me. My wife and I, we had to move on and turn it over to a full-time legal assistant, and also they're looking at now getting a full-time prosecutor. But I'm excited to work for you here in Toquerville because it's all about starting off things right. And that's the thing that was my goal in working with Washington City, and we actually had to make several changes to the ordinances. But I learned a lot, and I'm excited to work with Jason and to start things off right, and so we can put things in place and really get things going in the right direction from the beginning. Do any of you have any questions?
So you bring that up, the fact that you worked for Washington City when they were little and now they're big and now
Yes.
Toquerville's small. What I really liked about the interview with you is you have the ordinances. You know what ordinances we need to put in place. You have them in ordinance form already. So this is going to make it super easy for us to adopt the ordinances we need to prosecute these small, hopefully the small little crimes.
Absolutely.
So that to me was, that meant a lot, as far as on for me. So
Absolutely. And one of the interesting things is, and it may surprise you, but the most challenging ordinances are actually the animal ordinances, and especially the dog. It was interesting, when we had dog cases, I would get more people coming to court in dog cases than on child abuse cases. And it's just the way it is. It's just the way it goes. And so it's really important to have those ordinances and have them written correctly, and so we can start it from the beginning and do it right.
anybody have any questions?
And it's a tag team with your wife, right?
Yes, my wife helps me out with the legal documents, absolutely. So we've built a good relationship together on that, so yes.
So you're creating ordinances for us?
He will, the ordinance that we need, because we need certain ordinances, you can explain it if you want better than I can, for prosecuting.
Oh, he'll just take experience and create them for us.
He already has them created. That's the nice
Yeah,
thing,
perfect.
is he's already got them in ordinance form and he
So I'll
can.
definitely work with your staff.
Yeah.
And we'll make sure we have it written the way that you want to have it written, and then we'll bring it back to you.
Yeah, we still have to approve the ordinances, but the nice thing is they're made, and he's already done them in Washington County, so he knows the court system, he knows what works and what doesn't work, so.
You can recite them?
Sorry?
Just
Just
kidding.
kidding. Yeah,
Just
exactly. I probably could almost with the dog at large and some of those, but.
And we, when we circulated this RFP, we sent it to the Washington County Prosecutor's Office, Eric Clark, and we asked him to circulate that. And so he, outside of Washington City, also working the prosecutor for Washington County.
Yep.
And that's where he'll have a good understanding of what the county ordinances are. The sheriff's office, is involved in those as well, Washington County Sheriff, so
Absolutely.
really good fit.
Great. But my understanding is you already worked things out with the Washington County Justice Court.
Yes,
Yep.
we have the
Yes.
local in place.
And I know Slote really well. She's the one that manages the Justice Court.
Okay.
So I'll definitely be working with her closely.
Yeah, I think this is a good fit. So, and I have to say, when we did the poll, we had the panel, we all scored each question and he came out on top by a pretty good margin. So I think this is the guy for the job. So,
Paper ballots?
no, hanging chads.
Yeah, there we go. Exactly.
All right, I just need a motion.
I make a motion, Mayor, that we approve business item 2, appointing Jerry D. Jager
Yep, that's good.
as our Toquerville City Prosecutor.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this item? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, you got a new
Thank you.
job.
All right, I'm excited to work
Thank
with
you. I hope we don't get to use you.
No,
I mean, honestly,
No,
let's get our
exactly.
ordinances in
Yeah.
place, and I hope I never see you again. So as far as,
That would be the
that's,
perfect city.
that
right
would
there,
be
yes.
right there, so.
Yeah.
Maybe scared of the ordinances you're going to present.
Exactly. All right, well,
Okay,
thanks.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Item F3, discuss the possible action on authorizing to circulate an RFP for appeals authority for Tocqueville City.
So this one is on the agenda. We have had Bruce Jenkins. He's been appeals authority for the city for a very long time. He has talked with Daisy and I that is no longer going to work for him. He's just got other things going on. And so we now need to circulate an RFP for the appeals authority. And we're hoping that some of the applicants that did not get chosen as the city prosecutor will put back in. They were very, they were very high, the candidates were very highly qualified for the city prosecutor. So we are hoping that they will put back in, but that's where we are with that. So what we're asking for is just
Just an
the ability,
RFP.
just asking for approval to circulate that RFP.
All right.
I make a motion that we approve circulating the RFP for the Appeals Authority, which is business item 3.
I have a motion and a pair of seconds. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, perfect. All right, we'll move on to item F4, discuss the possible action on resolution 2024, discharge of fireworks to designate a specific location and time to discharge fireworks within city limits. So we've added a couple dates to our ordinance from last year. We talked to the fire district, Daisy talked to them, and they said they allow them for December 31st, January 1st, and Chinese New Year's. So we've added those to our ordinance because the fire district says it's okay, then we're okay with it. So anybody have any questions on this?
I have a couple questions.
Yep.
We can go stricter, correct?
We can.
Okay, so previously we have approved this. I don't have a problem with adding dates, but we had approved this up till midnight on the other ones, and now we're being asked to approve it till 1 a.m. on a couple of those. That seems a little bit late to me.
Well, it's the one is,
Well, it's two.
yeah, it's on the New
It's-
Year's
It's on the Chinese New Year
and
and
the regular New Year.
And a regular New Year. So I'm just. Yes, it also mirrors the state code. So that was my first comment. So we can go more stricter, correct?
We
Matt,
can.
in the state code?
If you want to be more strict than the state code, yes, you can.
Okay, so that was my first question. The second one, and maybe Afton or Matt can speak on it, is on the meeting on May 15th, you guys approved allowing staff to make that decision, but now this is coming before us.
Yeah, this is a resolution. So if it's going to be changed from last year, yeah, we need consent of council.
So even though it says in that May 15th that you guys, that wasn't here,
Yeah,
but you
we-
guys approved of it, it said.
We just feel like this is substantial enough.
Okay, that
It's a
you wanna bring it to-
substantial change, yeah.
Okay.
Most cities will take it to their council just to approve it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I have no problem with it. I was just asking because of the.
The Pioneers would have come in December instead of July.
They were stuck on the planes.
Whatever the council thinks, I'd like to see 1 a.m. go back to midnight, but it's up to the council. I'm good with whatever the rest of the council is, if they have input on that.
Don't they light fireworks off at like 12:01 a.m.?
Yeah, that's,
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
They
That's
put
true.
them off at midnight. and
Yeah,
you're-
that's a good point, Wayne. I didn't think about that. Thank you. Yeah, I'm fine with it.
So you got an hour to go from
Yeah,
midnight to
no,
1.
I'm fine with that. I didn't think about that, Wayne. Thank you.
Okay.
So.
Still trying to figure out.
Wayne's never up that late anyway, so I don't know why he thought of it.
He's watching it on the news.
He's out. Can't hear anyway.
All right, so we got a motion. Are we liking it?
I like it.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I'll make a motion to approve business item 4.
Second.
A motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Gary. Sorry, I forgot to excuse you earlier. Gary's on the road. He's zoomed in with us, so he is here. in voice. We can't see them, but that's okay too. So we're going to move on to item F5, discuss the possible action on approving work order 2024-2 from Sunrise Engineering for the Transportation Master Plan, Impact Fee, Facility Plan, and Impact Fee Analysis in the amount of $84,700. So Afton brought this up earlier, and I believe that we only have to come up with 10%.
15,000. It's a flat 15,000, and we're going to be approaching the MPO to cover our match. So, yeah, we received a grant from UDOT for technical planning assistance grant. This is the same grant funding that we used for our general plan update, the same thing. Yeah, so the maximum that Tokerville would be responsible for contributing is $15,000 if the MPO funded none of that, which is obviously under the procurement budget. However, we feel like because the total expenditure is over 25,000, it should be before the council, that the grant is funded. It's, so we're just asking the council to approve the ability for you to sign the work order.
When's the last time we updated our trend?
5 years ago, and it didn't include anything on the west side of the freeway.
2018, right?
West side of the parkway.
Right.
No, west side of the freeway.
West side of the freeway.
15.
West side of I-15. So it's definitely time.
West side of the freeway. Over there where Jerry.
East, Mills Lane.
Well,
that's the west side of the freeway.
On the west side of the freeway.
North-south freeway.
South freeway, west side of the north, west side of the southbound lanes. Yeah.
Okay. Anyways,
Just make a motion to approve business item F5 up to but not to exceed 85,000.
Second.
we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? This will be a roll call vote. Joey, we'll start on your end.
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Don't forget Gary.
Gary, thank you. I always forget you when you're not here. Sorry.
That's okay. I'm
Motion-
just chiming
motion
in.
Carries. Thank you, Gary, for chiming in. All right. Item F6, discuss and resolution 2024, resolution to adopt the proposed fiscal year 2024-2025 budget.
Mayor, this has been ongoing since January. We're going to have Candace come up and speak to parts of it. Again, this is the same thing we do every year, just for the benefit of the public if they haven't been through this part before or if it's new. We present a proposed budget. What we do is start in January. We start looking at what the expenditures were for the prior year and start trying to project what they are after we've received property tax in January. We have a pretty good idea of where we're going for the next year. In March, we held a budget strategy session at the Springs that was open to the public. Council was able to give input. The staff was there. Department heads were there. They were able to give their input, tell us of what they thought their budget needs were for the next year from mayor and council and the staff. So we were able to take those, incorporate as many of those as we could into the budget, in the general fund, through the water fund, and then work through them from there. We're going to see, some highlights are pretty general. The cost of living raises, the standard cost of living raises are in there. We took into account training for the staff, and then some asks by Public Works. They're looking at a new dump truck and some things like that. Candace can answer other questions if you have any, but outside of that, it's just important to note that we did the same thing with this year's budget, that we actually held one more public hearing for this also. We're only required to do one, but we've done 2 of them now. This one is for council tonight, for you to be able to ask, questions or give direction on things that you'd like to see. Areas of interest are going to be in legal expenses. Obviously, our legal's risen throughout the years. That cost has gone up. And then our next one is public safety, because we've added this year code enforcement. We've added code enforcement and public safety. Our law enforcement has stayed stable. that they didn't feel like when we did that meeting with them, they did not feel like our call volume had increased enough to justify an increase in patrol or anything like that. So the recommendation was to keep that the same as last year. Other increases in this year's budget are the radio station. That's an expense that we did not have. We've also included a line item for city prosecution. Ideally, all of those expenses would be paid through fines, right? As we get going, that the purpose of the prosecutor would be that if it has to go through that, but there are fees for if someone settles before then. We've got some expenditures, but the majority of what we talked about with the prosecution, that panel that we had, is that the majority of those expenditures in the beginning are going to be related to time spent reviewing ordinances or getting those up to date, kind of what we just talked about as he was up there. So you'll see increases in that line item. And then other than that, you'll see that we have when we do these budgets every year, we underestimate the revenue and we try to overestimate our expenses. So we try to underestimate the amount of revenue we expect to receive and then overestimate our expenses so that we make sure that we're managing it. So we usually receive more money and spend a little bit less. And that's how, like you'll notice from tonight, where I was doing the financial report, that 100% of the year, has passed, but we've spent 97% of the budget. That's how we do it. We estimate that we will get less in revenue. One of those areas you'll see in revenue is that we reduced the amount of interest income drastically. And we did that because we don't know what's coming up with interest rates. We don't know what the election year will bring. We don't know what it is. So we don't like to count on paying stable expenses from things that could fluctuate, like interest or other things like that. So that's really what you're going to see, is that we've underestimated revenue, we've overestimated the expenses, and that seems to keep us pretty fiscally responsible. It's basically the equivalent of just underestimating how much you're going to get paid, right, on your paycheck and not spending the whole thing.
So am I to understand that budget's really only increasing $449 more than it was in 2023?
So you'll see, and Daisy, you can pull up this final if you want. I don't have a problem with
Just
me.
what it looks like. I don't know if
Budget.
that's true.
Candace?
I'm hoping that's true.
So what you'll see is, I think that's the resolution. Do you have a copy of that? So what you'll see when we look at this, so for example, we get the general property tax, we get a notice from the county that tells us what it's going to be. It's going to be less than that. So you'll see as you come down through here, keep going down. You'll see these are all of our revenue funds, things we get for B&C road funds. We get, and after this, we will actually put out the budget that residents can come in and look at the budget if they want and see what's being proposed. It's available at the city. You just come in and look at it if you want the proposed budget. So. And then these will be our expenditures. So when you go down right here, public safety, if you want to go back, I think it's up a little bit, Daisy. Yeah, if you go up here. So for example, in public safety, this one you'll see the expenses are overestimated. This is if we were to hire code enforcement, for example, at full time, and if it ended up being a benefit package. Right now, code enforcement is part-time, few hours. So that's way over budgeted of what we're thinking, but it would plan for if he ended up being full-time. We're not saying that we need full-time, but that's an example of how we over budget on our expenditures. So that would be if people started, as we start with the city prosecutor, we start having lots of trouble, lots of violations, and they're working so much, and he's working with code enforcement all the time. One of those line items where you'll see city prosecutor legal, that's an estimated expenditure based on if they have to go through the code, if they have things that get settled out, but it settles before court, but we still, owe a fee for that. And then emergency preparedness and equipment, that's for part of the, that's for, part of a generator if we have to use that, or something else that might come up, public safety related, emergency preparedness. So if you go down, Days, a lot of these are pass-through expenses, meaning that the fees that we collect are equal to what we're paying. So if you go back up just a little bit right there. So the proposed budget, the total expenditures are 2 million is what the proposed is. This is not a final budget. We intend tonight, after this discussion, make even more budget cuts on the expenditure side. So then if you go down again, I think that, I don't know if that's the last, oh yeah, then we're getting into the other funds. So if you scroll back all the way to the top, it should show you there's the proposed budget of 2.1. We do what's called zero-based budgeting, meaning your expenditures will match the revenue that you bring in, even if that means that part of it goes into our unrestricted fund. So, yeah, so you're, I guess the question that you're asking is you're just saying, are we estimating that help me understand? I'm hoping that I've answered.
I was looking at page.
It's just the difference between 24 and 25 is,
Oh, yeah.
that was it.
Right there.
That's page 4 in the
I was
Daisy.
looking at that right there is what I was looking at. The total expenditures.
Right there,
for
yeah.
that Position. I'm impressed with that if that's what we're thinking.
So there's one big number that's.
Candace, you. Thank you.
This is Candace from Hinton
Of
Burdick.
course,
She's our
that's
accounting
not-
assistant.
So there's one, so yes, what he's talking about is 2.115, 2,115,000 versus 2,116,000. So the only big difference I would show you is we did receive special funding in 2023. The ARPA funds that were part of the COVID relief, that was 87,500. So we used other people's money in that year, and that's not a current budget item this year. So yes, we're not, and if you look at year over year, you're really only raising a couple $100,000. So yes, it's not, you're not changing things largely. No big things. And there will be times where the city budget fluctuates, right? Because you'll have a roads project that needs to be done, or repairs and maintenance somewhere that comes out of this general fund.
So I was just looking for the bottom line.
Bottom line, in the general fund, we're budgeting at 2.1.
Which page?
This right here, bottom
Right,
five.
What you were-
That's the one you was looking at.
Our estimated
We have a
budget,
of 2 million?
2 million.
yeah, 2 million
For
one.
the general
one
fund.
For the general fund, 2 million, yes.
General fund, yeah, general fund.
Then we have our water account, and we have
Yeah, which we'll. scroll
enterprise
to those
fund.
later.
Yeah. Yep.
At least with the price of everything nowadays, that's
Oh,
pretty tight.
yeah, they're doing a good job.
Yeah.
So, and then if you want to scroll to does anyone have any other
And
questions on the
lots of
general?
lots of grants
Lots of
that Acton
grants,
gets for
lots
us.
of grants.
Then you want- Yeah, scroll down, Jason, just this next one, this is our capital projects fund. And this is where we get impact fees. When people pull building permits, we get impact fees. And so, yeah, that's really what this is. It's just, if you scroll down to capital projects right there, the expenditures, you'll see that we've been working on the park in 2023. We're anticipating doing that, the Choya Creek turn lanes. We completed that. We might have a little bit left on that for the striping if that comes through. Other than that, Westfield Park, we're planning on expending money out of that. We're not planning on doing any other major streets project outside of preservation next year, just because we've got the parkway ongoing. So if you want to scroll to the next. This one is the Tokerville Parkway project. This one just demonstrates the revenue. Things of interest in this one are kind of at that top line. You'll see the interest received on this project throughout. There are state funds on this. We received the Parkway. We've talked about the funding model for that we've received funds from the Utah State Legislature. And then there is a public infrastructure district in place. So you'll see the revenue on that. We're proposing that will not be going, when you see 25, that's the 2024 to 2025 budget. So we're not anticipating that the Parkway will be under construction in 2025. But what we are saying is it's part of that fiscal year. So if you want to go down, you'll see this is our water fund. This is one of the reasons why we're not proposing a rate increase in the water fund at this time. What things that we've implemented in this that have been very, very helpful. We've implemented late fees, shut-off notice fees, and service connection or reconnection fees. And those have been a major source of revenue in there. We felt like that was appropriate, that before we moved to a water rate increase, that we needed to address the bills that weren't being paid. by residents. We didn't feel like it was right to do a rate increase to compensate for accounts that weren't being paid. And so that's been ongoing. You'll see that with the late fees, you can watch that trend. Some of this is based on expected growth. Hydrant fees. This is where you see those things that we bring forward on the uniform fee schedule. This is how they directly translate to the budget. When we say we need to implement a service reconnection fee or a shut-off notice fee, and you'll see that revenue right there. So the AMI water meter conversion, you'll see that one has a $0 expenditure for this year because that project has been completed, but it still just tracks on the budget. So you can see what you've done in the years prior. So then if you want to go down, you'll see we earn interest on this account. That we did that capital improvements, that Anderson Junction water line, that's done, but it's still on there from 2023, just carrying over. So that's where we are. You can see on there, we've got in the water fund about that $200,000 over that we have not budgeted. There are some equipment asks on behalf of that will kind of take down that $200,000 overage. The generator would be an example of that. So that will eventually get to where it balances. But right now it shows an overage of that we have basically that we've got $200,000 too much in the fund for what we've budgeted. So.
Did we hire more people? No. To get to the 245 on wages?
So we do that based on a calculation, based on their range and the training that they have is how we do that. And then what we actually did too is we reallocated. For example, when in our public works, we had some people that they were being coded to just parks or just streets, and we've now split their wages and allocated them to where they're actually working. They've gone through their timesheets and started to allocate instead of just saying, oh, I'm in public works. They've started allocating, like, I work at the cemetery, I work at the parks, I work on water, and where they're actually working so that we could properly allocate it. So we've just refined it down to where they actually go. No, that's not a new employee. It's just a reallocation of their wages to where they're actually working.
Better balanced out, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to tell you guys, Ruth, Candace, Afton, thank you. It's a lot of work, and I understand how much work it is, and thank you for spending the time. I think it's a really solid budget.
It is.
Yeah, awesome.
And the cemetery, kind of the same thing here, our perpetual care, the same thing. You've seen it on the fee schedule where we've raised opening and closing fees just to compensate for what the wages are and what the actual expenditures are. So it's not a moneymaker by any means, but we don't go in the hole for it either. So that's where that one is.
Is that a pun?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Yeah. Oh, geez, the cremation wall that we've been talking about getting forever. So yeah, that's where we are. So that's the proposed budget. We do not have to finalize this until June 30th. So if you've got input, feel free to either come in and visit with us, email us, say, hey, I was looking at this after the fact. I've got some questions. Well, June 22nd for the proposed, and then by the 30th, if we're going to do a budget amendment on our current. So, yeah. So I should have told you, yeah, next week I meant, just kidding. You know how when they say if your homework's due.
We have one more public hearing?
No, it won't be a public hearing. It's just there'll be a public hearing on the new budget, yes. And then you will also see on the next one, though, the amended budget from this year.
Okay.
So, there won't be a public hearing on that, but yeah, you'll hear from us. It's fine. We'll hear from the public at any point in time. We'll public notice it.
There'll be a public hearing for the final proposed budget.
For
25,
26, okay.
26.
24, 25.
25.
I don't know what years that may
It'll be 24, 25.
And then a public hearing for the amended 24.
Okay.
What she's talking about on the amended for 2024 is that the council will adopt the budget for the new year. And then throughout that year, we'll say, this is what we generally expect to spend money on in the city. If we find that parks, that maybe parks needed $500 more, but streets needed $1,000 less, we will reallocate those, but not exceed the bottom line. And then it comes back before the public to say, hey, this is what we spent, this is what we said.
On
This
the
is what
actual
happened.
2023, 2024 budget.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we'll just make it.
So that's what she's talking about, but we'll have public hearings on them both. It's
Right,
fine.
because that's part of your abilities is to move stuff around as long as it doesn't change the bottom line.
Yes.
And at the end of the year, we just have to come back and approve everything
But all, yep,
as a formality.
yep.
And we're doing that on our next city
Yeah.
council.
As a formality.
And then that is audited by the state after.
Right.
So, yeah.
Perfect. Okay, more questions on the budget?
It's not a motion item. It was just.
Oh, that's right. This is just a discussion. Okay, we're not voting on it.
Thank you.
That's right. Make it even easier.
Thank you.
Thank you, Candace. Thank you, Daisy. Thank you, Ruth.
Yeah.
All right, discussion item 7 regarding Firelight development and a request to allow vertical construction prior to Tocqueville Parkway completion. Scott? Yes. So I know there's a gazillion, go ahead.
So first things first,
We can share.
just for the benefit of the public, this item is on the agenda. Tonight, it is a discussion item only. So there's no motion
We can share.
being asked for.
I can't read anyways, so.
Candace, thanks, Ruth.
Thank you.
Yeah, so this is a discussion only item. We're going to discuss, Firelight has submitted a request to start vertical construction prior to the completion of the parkway. Anita mentioned earlier substantial completion of the parkway. So I'm sure that will come up on this item. The request from Firelight, when it came through, one of those was based on that when they had talked about not going vertical prior to substantial completion, that was when the parkway was anticipated to be about a 9-month project, and we're now almost 30 months into a 9-month project.
It's just getting.
So that's really where it is. That's where the request is coming from.
Construction. And one of our main goals this year is to get a parade home done. And to get a parade home done, we got to start by August-ish. So we're hoping that we can get, the gap, we know the parkway is going to be wrapping up this summer. It could possibly spill into the fall. But we just need a couple of months that we can get started so that we can make some progress on the homes. There's a bunch of things that aren't in place at this time. So this is why we need some slack, and we're coming to the council for some help. But on this list, you could see, Clark, you reordered these things. Okay, dang it, Clark. Okay, well, I'm just going to start at the top.
Sabotaged.
We would like, we're hoping that the council could allow us to record before the parkway is open. That was always an understanding that wouldn't happen.
The subdivision.
Yeah, that we need to record phase 1 and 2. And before the utilities are live, one of the issues is getting the power and the water. Both are related, getting the power across the bridge and come up the parkway. All the conduit's been installed. We're just waiting for Rocky Mountain. They've been paid, like 8 months ago, but the equipment has been very slow to show up. So the water tank is not active. That's one of the main reasons it's not yet. And then, so that's water and power, basically. Those are, and this ties into fire protection.
Yeah, that's so.
And we've had some discussions with John Postert so far. I assume he's talked to you about that. And that could either be part of our discussion, or that could be something that we satisfy them separately.
Yeah, I mean, if you
that's
can
up to you.
satisfy the fire district, then if they can sign off on it, then that's my concern with them.
And then we would need access for the tradespeople. The first month of any construction is just going to be slabs and foundation. There's going to be no fire hazard at all. It's just when we go vertical with sticks, it's when the fire hazard starts. Maybe.
Merlin.
Yeah, okay, I am looking at you.
Merlin said if you get your weed eater
Okay.
out. He said if you get your weed eater out, you're okay.
Right. So we, feel like August is going to be preparing the foundation and everything. So hopefully the water tank is functional by September, and it's very likely to be, but we need to be able to have a plan in place in case it's not. The plans that we have discussed with them are stand tanks sufficient to fight fire. And again, that's something we'll pursue with them a little more. And then we're asking for access for the tradespeople. And this would be, like I said, slabs
would be the first month. So you're going to get a couple of pickup trucks coming, forming and setting up slabs, and then some concrete trucks. And that's the majority of the first month, for example. There's never going to be more than, I can't even imagine, 4 pickup trucks at any time. And they would come straight to our site and leave directly from the site.
And it's just on the bypass, right? Like that's the only way to really get it.
I think the bypass road is the least impactful. And then we'd like 8 to 10 building permits. Again, going vertical is a separate thing. We hope to go as vertical as many as that we can provide fire protection for. And then the last items, recording won't even happen. So we won't even start this process until grading is complete. Some of you might know that grading, we're waiting for some additional dirt for the grading to be complete there. So none of this will even get started until that's done. We anticipate to be done with the phases and the grading by the end of July. So it looks like we're on target for that. And then we understand no COs would be given until the parkway is open, but the parkway will be well open. You know, this building period is going to be 6 to 8 months. Grade will be a little faster because we'll try a little harder to get that, on time. And then no COs until power and water are live. But again, we anticipate that by the end of the summer, if not early fall. So, and we understand you might have additional constraints or items, but this is just a starting point for discussion. Like to hear your thoughts.
I think you guys have the ability to work with JP on the tie-ins to avoid traffic. Like that's.
It would be very few trucks.
It's not that big of a deal. You guys work with them all the time anyway.
Yeah.
So
with all the trips Darcy makes every day, that's half of it right there.
probably the only time is during the paving window. You're going to have any issues anyway.
Yeah.
Does staff have any issues or comments they would like us to address or talk about or?
As the things that we talked about this morning in our meeting was as we come procedurally into the final phases before they allow the final plan to be recorded, it states that we need to have completion of the utilities and things before I can give a final acceptance to that. So I have a sheet with every project that I would go in, just like Troy subdivision, move in and say, hey, we want to sign off, the utilities to sign off that their infrastructure has been installed and inspected for their standards and specifications, for everything from sewer to communications. And they all usually will sign off on that. As soon as they have that, then they could record the plat.
So everything will be installed, but not live.
Yeah, okay,
So I want to make that distinction.
I didn't say that. So it will not be live.
Yeah, it'll be a completely finished subdivision before we could record. So you will get, pavement, curb and gutter, finished retaining walls, all the privacy walls will be in. It'll look like a finished subdivision, except the utilities won't be live.
But you're talking just for the 8 to 10 building permits?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll limit that.
Just 8 to 10 right now is what we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
And then when water and power comes on and the parkway is open, then we're just open for business.
Yeah. Just to make sure that you're good, is the pools considered a building permit? Like if you're going to do a pool, you don't want to lose a building permit for you don't want to lose a building permit for a pool.
No, it's a separate permit. And we would be focusing on the models for this first
I
little
thought your
bit.
parade home was going to have a pool.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I have no
Usually
idea.
it does, but so I had to look at, no, I guess not this time.
This is just a question for my own information. So with the COs, do you have to have a CO for like your parade home and for the models?
Yes.
Okay.
But we feel like all of that would fall into place. This is buying us like a 3-month overlap, maybe a
Right.
4-month overlap.
Okay.
And
The parade's in February, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's a good point.
If for some unforeseen reason came that it was completely built and there is no water still connected to the mains, then they would not get CO.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we found that the parkway went over a graveyard, we'll probably have to shut that parkway down. and we
Don't
won't be able to have
curse
a
us.
parade house.
Why?
So-
Why?
Did I jinx things?
Why?
You said it, not us.
Okay. And then just to reiterate what Joey was saying, the home construction trades people, the intention is to use a bypass
I
road
think that's the
and not go
best
through
way. And from
and
the
not go
north
through
end,
town.
where we have a coated gate, and I think that coated gate's worked pretty well. I haven't heard of any complaints. Though I can't believe that there haven't been high schoolers sneaking through there, but I guess there
Not
have.
through the gate.
Yeah, but you tell them.
Oh, and they watch YouTube.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, not city, not
We have
city
cops
council.
and a city prosecutor, so that'd be a
We
bad
do.
idea.
Yeah.
And game cameras.
So what if something happens and the bypass does not open for you in time?
Then we wouldn't be able to.
You just gotta sit on
the
it.
homes would have to sit. Yeah, that's the risk we would be taking.
What is Tocqueville's liability here by allowing this to happen? In my opinion,
Yeah. that's-
we have no liability. Burn down or whatever, and that's really not, I just
We
don't
would
want something to
sign
come back
any-
in Tocqueville.
Yeah,
If we're
any-
gonna break procedure to do this or something.
Yeah, any
Or is it-
indemnity.
That's it, that would be included, this is just discussion tonight, that would be included in an MOU that would
An
come before
understanding
you,
thing, 'cause
that liability is on Firelight.
What comes to mind?
In terms of liability?
Yeah, for the city.
Um,
Or is there-
I don't have anything out of the ordinary here.
Yeah.
Because people moving in, that's not going to happen until the
Right.
COO issues. I'm looking at, one question I have is, as the tie-ins get finished, that interaction between the contractor that's doing the work and UDOT, does that interrupt your access? But that's more of a logistic issue than a liability issue.
Yeah, and I think, well, it's not gonna switch over to UDOT for quite a while, so, yeah.
Well, I'm not talking about the
You mean
jurisdictional
the final
transfer.
striping and things like that.
Just getting that intersection on both the north and south end, those have to be completed. Last report I heard, and the staff can give you more information, but they're trying to get, JP's trying to get approval from UDOT on traffic flows and construction process and trying to make that work. Will that interrupt with what you're trying to do
We will
or
have to
have to be
adapt.
part of the study?
I would guess that there will be some limited access to the center of the road for various other reasons. I bet you we can be flexible and work with whatever's most efficient.
It would just have to be a consideration, like what Matt's saying, that if it was gonna slow down the completion of the parkway, that the parkway would take precedence, which is your goal also.
Yes, we won't.
Because you can't get in there till it's open. So, yeah.
And there was public comment tonight about construction access coming from other points than the parkway. Would you be able to clearly restrict or ensure that it's just on the bypass to get access to the subdivisions?
That's been easy so far. It's like GP's crews, they don't use anything else except the south and the north end.
The north end is so easy for you
And the
guys.
north end
It's-
is,
You probably never even.
Same
see
way
it.
we've done the water tank.
it's like.
They've accessed from the north.
Yeah.
And the power and the gas.
And I'm assuming, I haven't looked at the specific issue. There are municipalities in the area that have code provisions allowing for essentially a model home to be built. I'm not aware of anything in the city code, but I haven't taken a deep dive. So I'm looking at this, it would essentially be a one-off.
It's covered in their development agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah. They,
Covered in there.
Yeah, and that was going to be the next thing, is looking at the development agreement.
yeah, they got a pretty good development agreement that
And
specifically calls out model homes and all that.
yeah, we tried to get that all nailed down.
I don't know.
Questions?
I think if they can, no, we all have lots of questions, but
Concerns, how's that?
no, I mean, how long they gotta wait? You know, they've been waiting a long time to get
They
this road
have,
built.
they have.
Bless your heart.
I think if there's gonna be a little cumbersome problem at that end,
Yeah.
when he's trying to switch over the public. But if all his employees and stuff and cement trucks and all that are coming in from either that way or that way, I just don't, and we have no risk, I almost feel like that it's, I think, I don't know if we've held you up personally, but the whole construction phase has held you up.
It's been processes.
And if we have
yes.
no liability and there's houses out there and something happens to them, then that's the gamble they take. And I don't have.
And we
I don't have a
signed,
problem.
the water tank contractor and JP signed certain indemnities and accepted certain responsibilities. And we could extend that. JP had to sign the agreement for the water tank contractor, for example. So we would have to get his buy-in.
You guys drafting the MOU?
Say that again?
Who's drafting the MOU?
We haven't,
Yeah,
that
we got
is,
it ready.
should we have our person do that and send it to
2 weeks,
you
we
for
can,
review? Is that the right method?
Usually, like how the water district had an MOU on here tonight, usually the entity that's requesting prepares the MOU, presents it to the city, and then it's redlined by the attorney and then brought to the council.
Okay, awesome. I'll get that.
Yeah, and then that way,
sent
we're
to
not
you.
trying to guess what
you
you're
guys.
proposing.
Yes, no, it's time to get it on paper.
But just, just so you know, like, and then it would be for the next, yeah, really, it'd be
Justin.
for the next council meeting, so which will be the 20th, not the 19th,
Okay.
June 19th.
Make sure the attorney has enough time to review it.
yeah, get it-
Absolutely.
so get it to Matt tomorrow.
Yes.
Could I say a little bit from the fire side?
Yes.
Or
Berlin.
Not the firelight, but the fire department side. So for this, they've been doing some texting back and forth with John, and then they had a face-to-face today.
Yes.
So our biggest concerns is we've got the fire hydrants out there, but we have no water in the systems.
Yep.
And and the main reason for that is because of the power. So if the power could solve everything. Another concern we have, and I don't know what the street structure is like out there where you're going to be building. We've got to be able to get our trucks, if we do come out there, they've got to be able to be on a compacted road so we can get to them.
Asphalt.
So they're already paved, okay. Yeah, because we don't, okay, yeah, because we don't go out there and go through the gate and check the.
Asphalt all the way. right to the front
So our
door.
biggest concern is the water, and I know they're talking about possibly if they may have to put some tanks out there.
Yeah, and the rough calculations that he brought us were 60,000.
60,000 per house,
For an hour.
yeah, yeah.
So we don't know how feasible that is, but we have to satisfy you guys.
And
So-
we're happy, you can put all
We're gonna break into
all the
some
slabs you
spots.
want, but no framing until we have an agreement
Yes,
with the fire department,
100%.
our concerns.
Be a condition in the
They
MOU.
were, they can
Yeah,
work
it's a
it out.
fire department, but
Leave us out of that.
yeah, it does. That takes us.
I don't see any problem.
Okay. Thank you, Scott.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right, we are going to move into our calendar of events. Chuck's going to bring something up real quick.
Just a reminder that was already brought up, but so that everybody understands, June 19th is a holiday, so our next meeting is on the 20th.
What days do you know?
And here's a question. We have a 4-day 4th of July weekend instead of the normal 3. And the day before the 4th of July weekend, we have a city council meeting. Do we still want to have the city council meeting on the 3rd of July?
3rd of July.
People are coming or going, or if you got a 4-day
Well, you-
holiday, a lot of people are going to be getting out of town. I don't,
You got to be here, Chuck, for the thing on the 4th to cook pancakes. So we were going to have it. So we make sure
Okay.
you're here.
just bringing it up as a thought.
I don't know. You guys good?
I don't know.
The 3rd of July to me is fine.
That's far enough away. I have no clue where I'm gonna be.
I won't be here.
Oh,
I can't believe I'm going to miss the 4th of July here, but I cannot be here. So,
oh, man. I hope you're somewhere fun.
and I was all ready to flip pancakes and everything.
Okay. And one more item.
Yes, Chuck, go ahead.
One more item here, please, if I could. And this is kind of a personal item with me. Tomorrow is the 80th anniversary of D-Day, major day in the history of the United States and the turn of the war, the Second World War. I was
You weren't
in
there.
my mama's belly at the time.
Wow.
And the week before that, her youngest baby brother, the youngest of the family, was killed in the oil raids on Palestine.
Wow.
Charles Francis Doane, to whom I was named after. So tomorrow's a big day for me and for a whole bunch of people on the beaches of Normandy tomorrow. So I just thought to bring that up as a little reminder for the young people here who weren't there.
Thank you, Chuck. Just a reminder, a community readiness meeting, June 13th, 7 PM here in the town hall. And of course, our 4th of July celebration, Chuck brought it up. We have a great celebration. It's been better and better every year. So everyone, please come out, tell your neighbors, tell everybody, let's get this, better than last year. So with that.
Just to clarify.
Yes.
So the next council meeting is Thursday, June 20th?
Correct.
Okay, and then we are going to do July 3rd for a
Yeah.
council meeting. Okay.
Unless
If there's
If there's a
quorum.
quorum.
there's a
Okay.
quorum, if
Yeah.
everybody's gone, then we won't have it.
No, we're here because we're here for the 40.
Yeah.
We're gonna be here for the third.
Okay.
This is one, Mayor, that Jeff is asking for lots of help with. Bailey's going to be putting these signs up around town.
Okay.
If anybody would like to participate in this, we'd love to have him. He wants to have a few more cars this year than last year.
Okay.
We had an incredible turnout for this last year for the car show.
Perfect. So yeah, if anybody's car nuts in town or know somebody wants to help out, Jeff Wilmot is doing a great job. He's got some awesome trophies already built. They're just phenomenal. So let's put out the word, a little bit of help on this. Yeah.
Wants to participate. Last year we had, just a ton of cars down there. It was super cool.
All right. Closed session?
We need it for more than character?
Yeah.
Can we do
More than character?
Yeah, can we do the land acquisition, land use?
Yeah, Mayor, I'd like to call a closed session for the discussion of a character, professional competence, physical health of mental health of an individual, and a strategy session to discuss the purchase, exchange, or lease of real property, including any form of water right or water shares.
Okay, I have a motion.
Second.
It says, any discussion? All approved? Sorry. Yes.
Aye.
Are you approved?
Yes,
Aye.
Any nays? All right, this open session is closed at 7:28.